Welcome to The Stir, conversations with people who inspire, fascinate, and bring us joy. I'm your host, Trish Muyco-Tobin. Have we got a show for you? What do Mick Jagger, Henry Kissinger, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Carole King, Isabella Rossellini, Demi Moore, U2, and all of the violent femmes combined have in common? Well, they've all crossed paths with our guest, the force that is Susan Barrett. Susan is the founder of Barrett Barrera Projects, which includes a gallery, exhibition space, and the private bread and breakfast and event space where she hosts visiting artists, curators, and exhibitors. But Susan is so much more than that. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you. Thank you. That's quite the introduction.
Well, I was quite impressed by that. Almost a year ago to this day, Susan was on stage at the fabulous Sun Theater in the Grand Center Arts District because she was being honored as Arts Innovator of the Year by the St. Louis Visionary Awards for Outstanding Excellence in the Arts. Wow, Arts Innovator. That's a pretty impressive label to have. Tell me, do you see yourself as an innovator?
I guess I do. I mean, I see myself as a creator, and since creatives are innovators, I guess I do see myself as an innovator. But I also think that title, as humbled as I am, I think they had to make up that title because there was nothing else that I could fit into. So I sort of think that it's a title that they're like, what do we do with Susan? Okay, let's give her the.
Let's make up a label for her, but that's not necessarily bad. That is what I think of as cutting edge, groundbreaking. I mean, I was actually among those in the audience last year when you received that award. And I do remember the video during the program, and you were asked, what would you tell your 10-year-old self? I don't know if you remember what your reply was, but would you mind sharing with our audience?
I think I said, you're right. I think I told my 10-year-old self, you're right. And as embarrassing, that was probably the most embarrassing thing they could have chosen for me. But at the same time,
oh my God, I love it. It was a very philosophical reply, and it was perfect. I just thought it hit the right note, especially for someone like you.
Well, I think what it meant is, to believe in yourself. And I think that, when you're young, you do, well, we sort of believe in ourselves, or I always did. I was always raised with such amazing parents who always told me to trust my instincts and to believe in myself. And I always had that support, and I always did. And I think that somewhere along the way, we sort of lose that. And I don't know if that's like, if that goes along with puberty, or that's just, getting a little bit older and feeling more lost and starting to question yourself. But I think that what I meant by that is you're on the right track.
Well, what did you want to be growing up? I mean, I'm curious myself. What did you want to be?
You know what? I always wanted to, it was very, very clear to me. I always wanted to be an artist and an architect. And I did those things. So I'm thrilled with that. But it was very, very clear to me that that's what I wanted to be. So I would draw these pictures of houses. I like read house plans and would design these houses, and then I would draw the people who would live in there, and then I would draw the clothes that they'd be wearing, and I would draw a car that they would drive. So I loved doing the whole narrative.
Well, hello, Susan Barrett. You were right. I mean, my goodness. And you are underselling yourself. Just the list of the things you have achieved so far go beyond that Arts Innovator title. I mean, in addition to establishing Barrett Barrera Projects, which is what you are all about right now, you were behind the creation of the St. Louis Chess Club and was the founding executive director of the World Chess Hall of Fame. To those in the audience, you may recall this just groundbreaking, so memorable exhibit called A Queen Within from a few years back, and that was with Susan at the helm, and that exhibit is still touring internationally. And I understand, Susan, some of your experiences as director of the World Chess Hall of Fame, among other things, brought about the creation of Barrett Barrera Projects.
It did. Yes, so I was lucky enough to work with Rex Singfield, who tasked me to open a chess club, which I had no idea what to do. I didn't even play chess. I still don't play chess. And
you know what? That really surprises me, but go on.
Pieces move. Now I know enough to say I know how the pieces move. And then because of the success of that, I was like, look, I have the best job in the world. I'm an art curator, for a private collection. And I don't want to open a chess club. Like, don't make me open a chess club. But after doing that, and it was an amazing experience, because I really got to, I had the freedom to explore every aspect of it. And I had the trust and behind that. So it was an amazing experience for me. And in opening the World Chess Hall of Fame, I begged. I'm like, no, you can't make me go back to chess. I really, really want to go back to art. And so I made a deal with Rex, and I said, look, I'll do this if you let me do this my way. If we can have the Hall of Fame as part of a bigger museum that features art and music and all things cultural that will reference chess as a sort of symbol for something much greater than itself, then I'll do it. And, he let me run with that. So I have been very, very lucky to have people let me do things my way. So it's been very fortunate.
Well, the sign of a true creative. I want to circle back to Barrett Barrera in a little bit, but just the essence of you being a creative mind to begin with, I'm just always curious, how does a creative like you create while in isolation? Because, you are away from things that would normally inspire creativity, nature, the outdoors, just hanging out with people. So what have you been doing with yourself?
Well, to say that I'm creating is a huge, huge sort of misunderstanding, because what I'm doing is I'm trying to figure out how to do Zoom and how to do my kids' work and how to teach things. So I wouldn't say I'm creating. However, I think that, that creatives are probably naturally introverts. And so this time, if there weren't like homeschooling and work, this is really like one of the most ripe and engaging and enriching periods for creatives and for me. I mean, the amount of sort of introversion, the introspection, the things that we can start to think about in a deeper, more meaningful way is exactly what helps me create and what I think creatives desire. So in a way, it's a gift to sort of slow everything down and stop thinking about just what we need to do next. We're so, expedited in our day-to-day that we don't take time to sort of look back and see, okay, why am I doing this? What is the cause for this? And how is this going to, be long-term? So again, if it weren't for the homeschooling, I would be in heaven in terms of
But let us talk about the homeschooling, though. How does one who is artistically inclined approach homeschooling with young kids?
Well, I approach it exactly as the teachers tell me to approach it, or I try to. Again, I think I revealed to you that I am not good with technology, so that's always but we have two young kids, and so my husband and I are tag teaming because they're both at ages that need sort of constant, I'm sitting right next to my daughter who needs that. And she goes to the international schoolhouse, which is all taught in Spanish. And so, my Spanish is becoming much, much better. However, she doesn't think so. So it's challenging. I mean, it's challenging. There's a lot to get through. And what I tend to do is I'll like get the colors out and the markers or the Legos and try to explain something. And there's a lot of pushback of like, that's not part of the lesson. It's like, okay. Things. It's, you do what you can.
You do what you can, exactly. So I wanted to circle back to your passion, which is art and the gallery. While the gallery remains close to the public at this time, it's not shut down. I mean, you and your team are still around. What is going on at Barrett Barrera these days?
Well, there's a lot of behind the scenes. I have to say, I'm amazed by my team. My team is the best team that I could ever hope to have. And they are not even missing a beat. Everyone has really very flexibly and very generously taken the work that they need to do and reconfigured how to do that. So what we're doing, I think like everyone else, is we're going a little bit deeper into some of the things that we need to do. So a lot of the meetings that take up a lot of time have, gone by the wayside so that we each have longer periods of time to reflect. So we have curators on staff, and curators need that quiet time, and they need that time to assemble exhibits and challenge what we're doing in terms of us as an organization. And we have people who are reorganizing sort of back of the house, which is what we've desperately needed. So that is great. I think what's really interesting for us is we just went through a period last year of major expansion.
Sure,
and
yes.
We have been going on all cylinders and not looking back. And so it's really fascinating to all of a sudden come to a crash halt with the rest of the world. And it's an opportunity to say, okay, we've done this expansion. Let's go back to the drawing board to see if we're going in the right way. Are we still passionate about what we're doing? Are we still asking the right questions? Are we still challenging ourselves? Are we still creating something for not only us, but for the community? How is our voice? Is our voice going to be heard? And do we have something to contribute? And that, I think, you need to have the quiet time in order to really ask those questions. So
I was going to say, it's almost like a luxury to have this time to reflect, because I could only imagine what it is like under normal circumstances at the gallery when you're rushing to get an exhibition launched, just dealing with artists and exhibitors and curators. So yeah, I could see that. But you've also, on a personal note, I know that you have started your own wine collection drive for healthcare workers, but also under the Barrett Barrera umbrella, you have worked with local arts organizations to collect and secure some personal protection equipment for our workers as well. And so, all that is, it's unbelievable that you're still, the community is still top of mind for you and the organization.
Well, I personally am very, very lucky. I have a house, I have a job, I haven't been fired from, my family's healthy, we're together. And the same with, my team is my family too. And for me, I want to take care of my team right now. So we're incredibly lucky that we're not facing what most of Americans are going through right now. And that is the heartache of, either losing a job or having to, sacrifice. And so that we're hyper aware that we are in a luxurious situation, and we're hyper aware that most people aren't. And so because of that, we have an obligation to our community, and we have an obligation to understand that though this might be a good time for us, it's not good for everyone. And if anything, this pandemic has taught us that we're so interconnected, and so we can't forget that. We just can't forget that. And I mean, let's face it, we're not in the business of saving lives. We are not out there on, in the medical field and risking our lives for the rest of us. We are, so not, it's not about us right now. It's about the community. And that always needs to be a point of reference.
Well, let me go back to the gallery. I know that you recently started a call out to the community to submit artwork of any kind from all ages, provided that the work itself is something that is uplifting, is something that brings joy to people. I wanted to ask you how that was going. What kinds of works are you seeing? Tell us all about that.
Well, we wanted to sort of have an online gallery, and we wanted it to be participatory, and we wanted it to be sort of not curated, so that it did become, a way to outreach each other, and a way to sort of, all collectively either get the emotions out or share emotions. So it's been great. We've received drawings from kids, and we've received drawings from our local artists and art from our local artists. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing that people A, respond to it, and B, are generous enough to share that, and that we can show that on a platform that really is about about sharing with each other. So it's great. I'm constantly surprised at the generosity of our community, and at the honesty of showing that.
And I understand that your team is curating the submissions and then share some of them on Barrett Barrera's Instagram page.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Absolutely. We love it. And I think it's great to, again, support our local community. And it can be, it's not even all local, but to support the community, because I think that some people seem to think that, we naturally have artists that we tend to work with, but we wanted to extend it out so that it's not just about our artists or just about our family or our group. We wanted to expand the family, so to speak.
And I love that, because art is universal if you think about it, and it's for the enjoyment of all. So yeah. I wanted to end this by asking you, what are you most looking forward to doing once all this is over and we are back to resuming our everyday lives?
That's a good question. Well, I'll be happy to deliver my kids to their schools where they can get a proper education. And, I think that our everyday lives are going to change. And I hope they do change, because I think that one thing that we need to take away from all this is what was working and what wasn't working. And so I hope we can redefine, and bring, take with us the things that we miss. And the things that we miss, obviously, are each other. I mean, I can't wait to hug I'm a hugger, so I can't wait to hug my friends again, to go out to restaurants, oh my gosh, and share a meal and share, a bottle of wine. That, to me, these house parties are great, except, there's something about that we're human. We need that connection. And of course, I will so much be looking forward to seeing art in person. There's nothing that can take the place of, really viewing art in person and seeing that relationship that you have with the object. So it's great that we can see it, with these little screens, but it's so much richer in person. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to leaving behind some of the things that maybe didn't work. And some of those things have been exposed, like maybe access and like running at such a crazy speed that we don't know what we're doing. So maybe enjoying it, slowing down a little bit, and understanding how interconnected that we really all are.
Wonderful. My gosh, you gave us so much to look forward to. It's been a pleasure, Susan Barrett. Thank you for all you do for the community.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And thanks for putting up with my, lack of Zoom skills.
Oh my goodness. You are fine and you are doing fabulously well. It looks like it. So thank you everybody for joining us on The Stir. We will see you all next time.